Mary Mac Bakehouse will be at Oakmont Olive Oil for an event this Saturday, April 24th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For details, check it out on our Facebook page, Mary Mac Bakehouse, or Oakmont Olive Oil's Facebook page. Also, Standing Chimney will be open Saturday, May 1st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., stocked with all sorts of wonderful spring, Mother's Day items, and baked goods.
Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. This week, it's one of my prized recipes that I've worked so long in perfecting, and I think I've got it now. It's Mary Mac Jambalaya, or McJambalaya for short. I'm sorry, I think it's funny. So this is pretty much like your basic jambalaya, except for a couple differences in it. It generally has andouille sausage in it and chicken or shrimp or another kind of meat. Jambalaya usually does not have okra in it. So my jambalaya has okra in it because I really like okra, and it also has all three of the classic New Orleans cooking meats. It has chicken and shrimp and andouille sausage. So this is like, I couldn't make up my mind what I like best, so I like it all best. So I put it all together. I'll give you the list of ingredients for this recipe. And one of the things that I use a lot in cooking, which you've probably heard on the podcast before, is a very nice big Dutch oven, heavy bottom Dutch oven. I have a Le Creuset Dutch oven that I really like. Very nice to use, and it's big. It's about an 8-quart, maybe 10-quart Dutch oven. It's a pretty big one. And then I have a smaller Dutch oven that's about a 6-quart Dutch oven that I also use. And it's stainless steel, but it has a really heavy bottom. So this one I used the big Le Creuset Dutch oven. It's nice to use a pan like that because you want a nice heavy bottom on it so things cook evenly and don't burn, and it allows you to control the heat a lot better. Plus, this recipe makes a very large amount of jambalaya, so I also like that because I like to take it in my lunch and I like to have it for leftovers.
Question: is it possible to make a small amount of jambalaya? I have never heard of such a thing.
I bet somebody could if they really tried. Another thing is my son often shows up and usually I don't know, he eats like half of it. So got to have a lot. So here's what you'll need for this recipe of McJambalaya. You'll need olive oil for cooking. You'll need 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You'll need, of course, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. You'll need 2 cloves of garlic minced, 1 large onion chopped, 1 large green bell pepper cleaned and chopped, but I cut it up into like 1/2-inch squares, and 1 large red bell pepper cleaned and cut the same in about 1 to 1.5 inch. I don't know, as big as you're comfortable with. It's nice to leave them a little bit bigger because they look pretty. Then you'll need 3 cups of chicken broth or 3 chicken bouillon cubes and 3 cups of water. You'll need 2 cups of cooked rice, either white or brown, whichever you prefer. A 28 or 32 ounce can of spicy diced tomatoes, whichever type you like and as spicy as you like. This dish is very spicy, and you can make it super spicy, super hot by using the real hot, like Rotel tomatoes or that sort of tomato. I like the bigger diced tomatoes that you'll get, like maybe Del Monte. Del Monte has them that are different seasoning spices. Some of them have pepper and onions and that sort of thing. So you can get the type that you like the best, but you'll need, I'd say, at least 28 ounces. 1 pound of andouille sausage cut into 1/2-inch slices. And then you need 1 pound of cooked shrimp thawed with the tails removed, and 1 can of okra drained. And the nice thing about this recipe is you can actually prep all your ingredients really pretty much before you start cooking. And it makes it really easy if you have your little bowls of stuff all ready to dump in, because it goes pretty quickly as you're putting this together. Okay. So to start off with, you're going to put your large Dutch oven or large heavy bottomed pot onto the burner and set your heat at about medium low to medium to get the pan heated up. Okay. And once your pan is heated up, you can adjust your heat as needed. We're going to cook the chicken thighs first, so we don't want to cook them to where there's a hard or crisp surface on them necessarily, but we want to cook them enough till they're browned up. So here's my method for the chicken part of the recipe. Take your boneless, skinless chicken thighs and just go over them and make sure that you remove any fat that's on them or any odd-looking stuff, I think that's a funny way to say it, but anything that doesn't look right, get it off of there. Okay, then what I do is I put them on a plate and I take the Creole seasoning and sprinkle it on them and kind of press it in, flip them over, and do the same thing on the other side so they're pretty well coated with it. Now, if you don't like something quite that spicy or quite that much seasoning, you do not have to do it particularly heavy, but I give them a pretty good coating. Then I put the chicken into the heated pan and I brown it on both sides, which takes like 10 to 15 minutes. Brown it on both sides and then remove it from the pan and set it on a plate. Set it aside to cool because you're going to cut that up in a bit. So now in the pan, you've basically got that Creole seasoning like stuck in the olive oil and chicken drippings that have stuck in the pan. So you're going to put a little bit more olive oil into your pan, probably a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, and warm it up and try to loosen up anything that's stuck on the bottom of the pan and kind of mix that up. Then add your 2 cloves of minced garlic, your onion that's been chopped up, and saute those. You can turn your heat down a little, adjust your heat, but saute those until they start to look cooked, like the onion will begin to get clear and a little bit soft. Then add the green and red bell pepper and begin to cook those until they're about halfway cooked. When the peppers are about half cooked, you're going to take your tomatoes, pour them juice and all, don't drain your tomatoes, and pour them into the pan. Now you're going to bring that to a boil, not a real hard boil, but a nice light boil. Get that boiling. Then you're going to add your 3 cups of broth or your 3 cups of water and bouillon cubes. And you can actually boil your water and add the bouillon cubes to it and dissolve them first and then pour that in if that's what you're using. Bring that to a boil again and then reduce to a simmer. Now you're going to add your Andouille sausage and cook that for about 10 minutes. So once you add the sausage, you're going to cool your broth off. Turn it up a little bit, bring it back up to a simmer. Once you get that simmering again, you're going to add your chicken, which you've cut into nice little about 1-inch cubes. Put that into the pot and stir it around. Once you get your chicken added in, you're going to once again bring that back up to a simmer. Then you're going to add your 2 cups of cooked rice. Mix that in really well. Now bring it back up to a low boil. Once you get it up to a low boil, you're going to add your okra, stir, and then add the shrimp, which has been thawed and the tails have been removed. Now, certain companies do a shrimp that is pre-cooked and has the tail removed already. And there's some very good wild-caught shrimp that comes out of the Savannah area. I cannot remember the brand name, but it comes like that. It's cooked, tail removed, and you could just stir it into something like this and heat it up real quick, which is what we're doing, and it's ready to go. But you can also use any type of a cocktail shrimp, thawed, and just remove the tail, and you're good. So once you add your okra and shrimp, you're going to very gently stir that in, and then you're going to shut the heat off and put the lid on the pan. Let that sit for about 10 minutes or so until the rice has absorbed some juice and it's, you can see that the rice has absorbed juice, but yet you still have a little bit of juice on there. When you're ready to serve stir it around, give it a good mix, and then serve it in a nice bowl, and you're going to love it. It's a spicy dish, so be prepared because it is spicy. So I guess if you don't like spicy things like this, don't make it because there's not a good way to make it without it being spicy. It's so good. Actually, the last time I made it, I kind of went a little overboard on the heat, but man, it was so good. I didn't even care. It was really delicious. So give this McJambalaya a try and let me know what you think. I know you're going to love it. I know it.
And make sure to check us out online on Instagram and Facebook at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Twitter at Mobile Mary Mac and Mary Mac Podcast, on our website, marymacpodcast.com, and you can also find our mixes in person at Standing Chimney and at Steel City Craft Emporium.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.